close your eyes and pull like a dog.
And a new Irish record for Phil Healy, 22.99.
Christy Cooney hands over the Sam Maguire Cup to Graham Canty, Cork All Ireland champions for the 7th time ever.
Hello and welcome to episode 30 of the Star Sport podcast. My name is Jack McCarran of the Southern Star, and I'm joined as always by Star Sport editor Kieran McCarthy. And on a weekend when our friends across the border may have missed their chance at greatness in Croke Park, the Cork Miners took theirs, and on today's show we'll be joined by Cork selector and former Castlehaven manager James McCarthy to chat through what was an amazing season for the young rebels.
There was also success in the water at the World Rowing Championships in Austria, where skipperine duo of Paul O'Donovan and Fintan McCarthy took gold in the lightweight men's double sculls.
Later in the show we'll also look back at the weekend's senior club football action, which included big wins for Island Rovers and Newcestown. But Kieran, we have to start with the rowers, and in a few minutes we're going to hear from Fintan McCarthy. But Kieran, to steal the title of a soon-to-be released book, there is something in the water in Skibbereen. How on earth did it keep producing at this level? Now, you've literally written the book on this subject, so I'm hoping you have answers. It's just gold after gold, medal after medal for the Skibbereen rowers at these major events.
It's incredible, Jack. I've said before, they're the gift that keeps on giving. You know, that's, let's say Paul O'Donovan for a second, that's his 4th world gold in a row. It's just incredible. Like, he's the most successful Irish rower of all time. He's the greatest Irish rower of all time. He's 25. Yeah.
Just before you move on and expand on that point, I was listening to the Sunday paper review on Off the Ball on Sunday morning, as I always tend to do, and just Kieran Cunningham from the Irish Daily Star made reference to the fact that Paul O'Donovan is going about his business in such a way that he's entitled to be considered the greatest Irish sports person of all time based on his success. The way he's going, 4 world gold medals,
4 world gold, and Olympic silver, yeah,
and a good chance at an Olympic medal again next year. So I know you just said he's only 25, so it's bizarre to even talk about a man that young in those sort of terms. But he kind of has a point, Kieran Cunningham. I'm saying that he's potentially in the conversation.
100%. Paul O'Donovan is absolutely incredible on and off the water. He's like, as a rower, he has it all, kind of physiologically, physically. He's almost perfect. Like, he's the best lightweight sculler in the world. That's not even open for debate. But it's off the water. The man's mindset is just incredible. You really have to spend some time in his company to watch how he operates, even to observe him from a distance and up close. Like, he's a very, very unique sports person. He's a man who's quite happy in silence, you know, but he just has that confidence and authority, kind of. I know it's kind of a cliche, but he does carry an authority about him, you know. You know when he's in a room, you can feel when he's in a room, but he doesn't make it known that he's in that room. He's not going to kill you with conversation ever, you know. He likes to kind of sit back, but he's a rowing nut, kind of. What he doesn't know about rowing isn't worth kind of talking about. He's just absolutely incredible. And Skibbereen Rowing Club again. Skibbereen Rowing Club, Jack, had 10 rowers at the World Championships last week. Like, that's phenomenal, like, you know. Like I said, it's the gift that does keep on giving. At the moment now, we have Paul joined by Fintan McCarthy in the Irish lightweight double. And actually, just to explain what's going on here, because I saw online, especially during the World Rowing Championships, it's like some people don't realise what's happened to this boat. Because it's known as the O'Donovan brothers since 2016. It's been Paul and Gary in that Irish double since actually end of 2014. But what happened this year is Gary got injured start of the year, hurt his wrist while he was down in New Zealand training away. That meant he was a small bit behind when he came back. Like, he obviously wasn't training, he wasn't in the water, so he wasn't as sharp and as fit as he wanted to be and would have liked to have been. So when it came to the European Championships and to the national trials, I think it was late May, early June, Gary just wasn't where he probably needed to be. Fintan and Paul just worked really, really well in the double, and they were paired together in the double. They went to World Rowing Cup 3 in Rotterdam, finished silver. Their second ever regatta together was the World Championships last week, and they win gold. So it's an incredible story, incredible rise for Fintan McCarthy, who's ironically, it's 2 sets of brothers, Jack. You've Fintan and Jake McCarthy from Skibbereen. You've Paul and Gary O'Donovan from Skibbereen. They're both from the same parish in Affadown. They both row at Skibbereen Rowing Club.
It's absolutely insane.
It's phenomenal. Like 4 of the best lightweight rowers in the country and even the world, you could say. Like they're world class. You've 4 lads from the same parish, 2 sets of brothers fighting for 2 seats in the one boat that's going to the Olympics. It's incredible.
And just to add some context to what we were speaking about at the beginning of this, when we spoke about you wrote the book on this particular subject, because you actually did announce that the book you have been working on for the last number of years will be due out in October, and I guess you're hoping to try to drill down into what makes the Skibbereen Rowing Club the success and the phenomenon that it has been.
Exactly, yeah. The book is in with Mercier Press. It's due out next month, kind of mid to late October. It's called Something in the Water, and I think it's very apt because it's almost trying to find out what is in the water, what's made this rural club in this little pocket here in West Cork, what's made this club the success that it is. And it's been a juggernaut. It's the most successful Irish rowing club of all time. It's produced 5 Olympians to date and counting, multiple world champions, European champions, the list goes on and on. So basically the book is it's the untold story of the club. It's how this club has conquered the world of rowing. So it's a lot of information and stories that people have never heard before. Some amazing characters from the likes of James McCarthy, you've Nuala Lupton, obviously Dominic Casey is a big part of it. Gráinne O'Donovan, Ross O'Donovan, Eleanor Lane, Dominic's wife, kind of. I can go on and on and on and on. Like it's so many incredible characters that have all come together, and they've worked so hard to kind of to make this small little club that's in a field just out the road here from our office, not too far, only a couple of miles out the road, and it's on a farmer's field that the clubhouse now exists. That they've made this club not only the talk of Irish rowing, but the talk of international rowing as well. Dominic Casey, was chatting to him yesterday. Chatting to him on Monday. He called into the office after the World Rowing Championships in Austria, and he was asked about the book over in Austria. Kind of, it shows how well good news travels fast, but Skibbereen Rowing Club has that appeal. It's a national sports story that this club is so successful, and there's a lot more to come from the club.
Yeah,
it really is.
I drive past the club on an almost daily basis, and every time I'm in awe because you just drive past and it's kind of understated. It's hidden away. It's not on any of the main roads. Like you have to go on a back road to get to it. You wouldn't pass it if you were on the way to Baltimore on the normal Baltimore road. So I can only imagine. So I get excited by it without having much of a history of rowing. But you can imagine how hardcore rowing fans around the world, they're dying to know what's going on.
What's happening. So hopefully that we'll give everyone what they want, and we'll show them what is in the water here in Skibbereen. I've really enjoyed it. Like I said on Twitter over the weekend, I've met some incredible people and part of this incredible club during this process, and it's going on the best part of 18 months. We're just digging deep, and like I said, great characters, great stories, a lot of information that people have never heard before, just everything that makes this club so unique. So it's exciting times.
Yeah, well, that book will be out soon enough, and we'll be sure to tell you where you can get it, but it'll be all in all good bookstores, and some rubbish ones too, as the old gag goes. But we'll just move on from that for now, because we have a brilliant chat coming up with Fintan McCarthy, who was in the boat with Paul O'Donovan at the World Rowing Championships, where they took home gold in the lightweight men's double sculls. And just before we do actually play the chat here, and I just want you to give the listeners a sense maybe of who Fintan is, because we did have him and his brother Jake on the podcast going back a good few weeks now. It was maybe in our second or third podcast, so this is episode 30, so we may have new listeners now who didn't get a chance to hear that interview. But if you haven't, I would urge you to go back, because I walked out of the room having spent 20 minutes in their company refreshed. I felt like I was going to go and seize the day and just have a great day. So I'd encourage anyone to go back and listen to that. But just for the people who haven't had a chance to yet, Kieran, before we play the chat with Fintan, maybe just give us a sense of who he is.
Fintan is a twin, Fintan and Jake. I think Jake is the older of the twins, but obviously not by much. It's very much like the Gary and Paul story. They're two brothers who have rowed kind of the whole way up together. Fintan and Jake have represented Ireland at the world. Well, Fintan's actually been on the world scene more than Jake. Fintan started rowing first, and he was 4 or 5 World Under-23 rowing championships. He was there. Fintan and Jake were flying. They really started coming the last couple of years. They were flying this year, and just so happens that Fintan has won his place in that Irish double with Gary. Two really nice young fellas. Fintan is one of the nice young fellas you'll ever meet. I think the smile on his face since last Saturday's A final, and you can hear from the interview coming up, he hasn't stopped smiling since. Even talking to him, you can hear him smiling. You know, if you could ever hear a person smiling, this is the interview, because he's trying to pinch himself. When he was in this studio a couple of months back, we asked him about is the Olympics a target? We asked both Fintan and Jake, and Fintan answered the question, and he was saying, it sounds rather silly to say, but kind of it is a target. So from it sounding silly a couple of weeks back, and now fast forward to now, the start of September, and Fintan has helped qualify the Irish double for next year's Olympics. Like, what a whirlwind couple of months for him. But again, it's off the back of a lot of hard work, a lot of talent, another product of Skibbereen Rowing Club, under the tutelage of Dominic Casey, who we just should not forget in this story. Kind of as much as the Gary and Paul get all the plaudits, and Fintan and all the other Skibbereen rowers get the plaudits, Dominic Casey is the Rowing Ireland lightweight coach. He's overseen all his success. He's the man that helped bring Skibbereen Rowing Club, made him the most successful in the country. But he's taken that recipe that he has, he's applied it to the Irish rowing setup, and he's made Ireland such a huge force in lightweight rowing. So he's a big part of the story too, Jake. Okay, well, let's not bury the lead any further then. Let's hear from one half of the lightweight double sculls world rowing champions, Fintan McCarthy. We're delighted to be joined on the Star Sport podcast by Skibbereen rower Fintan McCarthy. Fintan, congratulations on your gold medal success with Paul O'Donovan in the Irish lightweight double at the World Championships last weekend.
Thanks, Kieran. Thanks very much.
Let's get straight to it. Before we look at the A final itself, yourself and Paul secured Olympic qualification by winning your A-B semi-final. Talk to me about that, because yourself and Jake were in our studio there a couple of months back, Fintan. I remember I asked you a question about the Olympics, and you answered kind of, it sounds rather silly, but the Olympics has to be a target. And fast forward here a couple of months, and you've helped the Irish double qualify for the Olympics in Tokyo. Kind of, what was that like, first off?
Yeah, see, we were targeting the gold all along anyway, so the semi-final was kind of just another step in getting to the final where we could fight for the medal. But so it wasn't really that we were just thinking, make the final and qualify the boat. It was just about getting through the rounds and getting to the final. But I think once the semi was over, it kind of sunk in that it had been qualified, and it's just been one of those things that you kind of imagined doing for so long. And yeah, it was a bit surreal after that, but yeah, it was brilliant. It was really good. Like,
when you qualified the boat for the Olympics, Fintan, would you still have the A final to come and like that battle for medals? Would you allow yourself to celebrate a tiny bit, kind of, obviously just kind of give yourself a clap in the back, or is it straight away focus on the A final? What's that like?
Yeah, it's a bit hard to come down off it, all right, but yeah. To be honest, we just kind of allowed that half a day or so of everyone kind of saying well done and everyone being happy, and then we knuckled down. We had a day of training and after the semi before the final, so we just went out and put the finishing touches on and got ready for the next day.
Talk to me about this A final last Saturday morning, because it was incredible. Yourself and Paul, you were sixth after 500 metres, and you had left the Italians and Germans, I suppose, that they had built up a bit of a lead. It was a boat lead, I'd say, nearly. But after that, then, absolutely incredible to watch, Fintan. What was it like in the boat, yourself and Paul, to kind of, first that you pushed back up on the leaders, and then you not only pushed up, but you flew past them?
Yeah, well, the wind kind of changed for the day of our final. It had been flat calm all week and really nice conditions. They were nice now for the final two, but it was a bit more of a headwind, so we knew the race would be a bit longer. And we like that because we really back our fitness. We do so many miles in the winter and on camp and stuff, that we were pleased with that because we knew we have a really good depth of fitness. So I think everyone else tore off really hard, and tried to get that margin, because we came through in the middle during the semi-2 and at the end. So they would have been wary of that. But yeah, I think maybe in the end they kind of played into our hands a little bit, because the race was a bit longer, it kind of just gave us more time to come through, and everyone else was dying a bit more than us at the end, I think. So it kind of worked well that way, yeah.
What stage, Fintan, did you realise that you were in control of the race?
Sorry?
What stage did you realise that you were actually in control, that things were working out the way you wanted to, that your plan was working out?
Maybe not to the 500, but during the second and third 500s, I just saw that we were coming back and moving through, and by then I was kind of confident that we could do it. So I just put the head down and pulled as hard as I could to the end.
And that feeling afterwards when you crossed the finish line first, and I think you'd over 2 seconds to spare over Italy. What was that like? Those initial moments in the boat with Paul, did it sink in that you were a world champion? What was that like?
Oh, it was amazing. I've just been saying to everyone that you imagine becoming a world champion for so long, and it's just 100 times better than you ever thought it would be. Yeah, it was really special. I was getting a bit excited in the football. I wanted to calm down a bit before we got into the split, but yeah, it was amazing.
I can just imagine that you haven't stopped smiling since Saturday morning. I can imagine now the smile in your face. Is it almost kind of is it almost like you're trying to pinch yourself to realise that this is real? That not only did you help qualify the boat for the Olympics, but you're also now a world champion. Like, you've joined a very exclusive and unique club. Kind of what's that like for you, Fintan?
Yeah, it's a bit unbelievable, really. I still don't think I'm that good, but I suppose, yeah, I just can't really believe it still.
It's been a whirlwind couple of months for you, because yourself and Jake, like I said, were with us in the studio, and that was back, I think, at the start of May. But then obviously we did Irish trials there, and you won the place in the boat with Paul. What's the last couple of months been like? Because kind of like you've been rolling with Paul and training with Paul and stuff, and kind of you're getting to know each other better in terms of working in the boat together. Has it been a whirlwind couple of months, or what's it been like for you?
Well, since we started rowing together, it's been pretty good from the start. Paul said before that as soon as we came together, we kind of had most of our speed there already. Like, we had a good trial in, I think it was June, just a few weeks after the Europeans. We had a good race there, so that's why we raced Rotterdam together. Then Rotterdam was alright, and then Gary obviously did really well in Rotterdam too, so we had another trial after that, which was a bit stressful, but yeah, I managed to make it through there again. We had a really good race in Cork that weekend too, so we kind of knew that we were fast. And then we went to Spain for our pre-Worlds camp, and that was just about getting a bit fitter so that we could just put the speed to good use, I suppose, and just work a bit more on the technique. And it worked out in the end. So
talk to me, Swab, about Paul, because Paul is absolutely phenomenal, Fintan. Like, that was his 4th world gold in a row. The first two in the single, 2016, 2017. Last year and this year, he's won world gold in the double. Like, this man is an incredible rower. Like, he's the best Irish rower of all time. What's it like to kind of even to tap into his knowledge and share the boat with him?
Oh yeah, it's been such a good summer. I've learned so much about just training and kind of handling myself around racing, and yeah, I've learned so much, and I can't wait to put it to use next year and see how much faster I can go.
You've no time to rest in your laurels, Fintan, I suppose, kind of with the boat qualified for the Olympics next year, kind of like we all know, it's the boat that qualifies, so the seats are still kind of it's Ireland still have to put 2 rows in those seats for next year, kind of, and you will have competition from Gary and Jake and whoever else wants to throw their hat into the ring. So kind of it's just, what is it, just kind of keep your shoulder to the wheel now and battle on, is it?
Oh yeah, we'll be back into training in the next couple of weeks, and it'll be fierce, I'd say, for those 2 seats. But that's good too, because everyone will be making sure they're at their very best, and we've seen any combination of the 4 of us at our best can make finals and win world championships. So it's really promising, and it's a really good position to be in. So yeah, I think we're all really excited for next year, just to see what we can do.
Like you said there, like my last question for you, Fintan, I suppose, like Ireland and Skibbereen are so lucky and blessed to have 4 top international class rowers, and you yourself, Jake, Fintan and Gary. So whatever 2 are in the Irish double for next year's Olympics, it gives Ireland a great chance of doing very well.
Oh yeah, definitely. I think we'll all be gunning for the goals. We know that we can do it. So yeah, it'll just be our training hard and going for goals, I'd say.
Great stuff. Come here, enjoy the next couple of days, and as you get used to being a world champion, Fintan, congratulations.
Yeah, I'll try. All right, thanks, Kieran.
Thank you for listening to the Star Sports Podcast. Don't forget to pick up this week's Southern Star, featuring our award-winning sports section that has everything a sports fan in West Cork could want. Available every Thursday in shops across West Cork and online from anywhere in the world. The Southern Star, #1 for sport in West Cork.
In Croke Park on Sunday, Kerry and Dublin drew in what was easily one of the best All-Ireland finals in recent memory, but it may not have been the best game played at Croke Park on the day. That's because the Cork Miners came out on top in a thrilling battle with Galway, with Bobby O'Dwyer's men eventually running out 320 to 314 winners after extra time. Kieran, you were at the game. Can you maybe give us an idea of what it was like, especially for those last few minutes during normal time?
Incredible game, incredible finish, Jack. It's very fitting that before the game that they played the Game of Thrones kind of theme tune was played over Croke Park, because this was a battle, this is a battle to take the throne, and it was a worthy battle, because those last couple of minutes of normal time, the scores were level. I think it was 111, 112 apiece going into normal time. Galway got a point, Cork replied back with a point. 63rd minute, Galway sub, was it Niall or Nathan Cunningham, blasted the ball to the net. Cork were 60 seconds away from losing the All-Ireland, a goal down. We're talking about minors, 16, 17-year-olds. But this Cork team had the awareness and the composure to launch this quick-fire attack that caught Galway unawares. Because I suppose our young fellas, they weren't cynical enough to kind of flood bodies back and kind of to try and stop this Cork attack. And it ended with Conor Corbett, Captain Fantastic, jinking his way past the goalkeeper and 2 defenders and slotting the ball home. So you had each team scored 1-1 in injury time at the end of normal time. Scores were level, yet there was still one more Galway attack. They went up the other end of the field. Darragh Cashman gave away a free over under the Cusack stand side. So Tom O'Callaghan for Galway, I think he finished with 10 points. I'm not sure how many points he had by that stage. He'd a free to win the All-Ireland. In fairness to him, it was a difficult angle, and it went just wide. So what an incredible finish to the game. Sent the game to extra time, and then Cork took over. Cork really took over in extra time. They hit 1-3 without reply very early in the first half of extra time. Barry Rose, Ryan O'Donovan got the goal. That set them on their way, and they were convincing winners then.
So another All-Ireland success for the Cork footballers this year, after all the doom and gloom at the start of the year. So you'd have to say all round good season.
Good season for Cork football, like you said. All-Ireland minor and under-20 champions. Seniors got to the Super 8s. Good, a lot better times for Cork football. And we're going to get James McCarthy's thoughts now on last Sunday. He was one of the selectors with the victorious Cork minor team. Congratulations on Cork's minor win last Sunday, James. Dramatic stuff,
and thank you. Great experience, great day out. Not good for the heart, but I'd say if you watch it in telly or being there, it was an outstanding day.
For those who have been living on the moon the last couple of days and don't realise what happened, Cork beat Galway 320 to 314 in the All-Ireland minor final in Croke Park last Sunday. absolutely dramatic injury time here. The game is level. I think it was 112 apiece. Was it 112 or 212 apiece heading into 112 apiece heading into injury time. 4 minutes of injury time. And what happened was just incredible. Galway and Cork swapped scores. Then 63rd minute, Galway sub Niall Cunningham blasted a goal to the net to put Galway 3 points up with 60 seconds to go. And Cork looked in trouble then, James. What was the feeling on the sideline?
My chair got a belt of a shoe in here. That was the first thing. Well, look, your straight reaction, it's gone. But the players didn't think that. Mm-hmm. So, superb reaction from Keane in goal. The ball was out before the Galway team could take up their places, and straight out to Mick O'Neill, broke it down to Hugh Murphy, straight into Corbett. One the simple as that. Corbett had a lot of work to do, but took no better man to get it and clung it into Hill 16. No better feeling as well. The kind of quick thinking of the Cork Miners. We're talking about 16, 17-year-olds here, just after conceding a goal. 60 seconds left, the All Ireland final slipping away. But like you said there, Cian O'Leary, the quick kick out. Galway had no chance to funnel fellas back. Kind of the fact that these Cork young fellas, they slowed the game down, but still were quick enough thinking to launch an attack. It's brilliant, and that's leadership, which these guys had it all the year. Like we hadn't the best start to the year. Other young fellas could have thrown in the towel, but look, they got their just reward this year. You're on about,
I suppose, before I talk about extra time, you just mentioned there about not a great start to the year. That's obviously the defeat to Kerry, was 16 points back in May. But to be fair to this Cork team, James, you were missing a good few players that night. That wasn't the Cork team that we've seen since.
No, I'd say there was, I suppose, not sure now, but 5 starters, I'd say they weren't playing that night, and 5 big players. Maybe someone could have played that night, but we didn't chance them because we were thinking the longer picture, and the changing of the rules in Munster let us out into Munster after being beaten in the Munster final. But the big one was getting over Clare after getting a hammering against Kerry the first day. We had only 6 days to turn that around and beat a good Clare team who are good, and we didn't play well on the night, but we showed absolutely brilliant attitude just to get out of the result. And all year we haven't been mentioning Munster. It was to get these boys to Croke Park, which hasn't happened Cork football minor teams with years because of the way the structures were set up. You just mentioned there what happened in the last 30 seconds of that game. That happened to us below in Tralee last year. We got a goal to level it. We fell asleep. Kerry took a quick kick out, went down and got a winning point. We lost that by 1 point. Maybe if those bunch of young fellas got a summer of football, they might have done the same thing as these lads this year. So it's close things, but we got the rub of the green Sunday.
Like you said, the change to the Munster Minor Football Championship. Instead of 1 or 2 games like the last couple of years, James, the Cork Miners have had 6 games this year. Like in terms of the kind of development of these young fellas, like that's what exposure they're getting to. They've played Kerry, they've played Mayo, they've played Galway, they've played Monaghan, they've played top teams, they've beaten the Ulster champions, they beat the Connacht champions. Kind of incredible exposure for them.
Yes, and to play, you could say, nearly into All Ireland finals, because there's a packed house for the semi-final and a packed house again the last day. Now, it wouldn't be at the start of the game, but when that game was over the last day, Croke Park was full, and you just can't buy that experience. And this is where Cork football can drive on from. That hopefully we'll be in quarter-finals of All Irelands. And look, you have to take it from there. We're always been cribbing that we're being told we're the 3rd or 4th best team in Ireland, maybe the 2nd best team with the last 4 or 5 years. This year we got the chance to prove that. But again, the Croke Park experience, even from the first day, us as mentors and everything, we grew from that experience, and the players must be doing the same, like.
Because you definitely used that experience when it came to extra time last Sunday in the All Ireland final against Galway. Ryan O'Donovan from Barry Rowe got a goal 20 seconds into the first half of extra time, put you on your way, and you didn't look back after that, James.
No, and again, Ryan is very unlucky that he'd be starting nearly in any other county team. But with the abundance of forwards we have, we're just trying to work the panel better, and Ryan coming on the last 3 games have been outstanding. And again, he took his goal super. We've done that drill a good few times in training, and please God, it worked last Sunday.
Like even for him, and we were kind of talking off air there, that he kind of, for a young fella to hold his run, wait for Michael O'Neill to pass it in. It just shows that these young fellas, they're learning, they're getting better the whole time, they're improving.
Yes, and again, not me as coach, but the overall coaching, the setup is brilliant. Bobby was super setup put around that team. But again, the vision of Mick O'Neill to keep the head, and he hand passed that with the left hand across the square with maybe 2 men on him, while more fellas might be, driving a hard shot against the goalie and getting blocked down. So again, that did come from the training pitch, but so these lads, they soaked it up. They wouldn't be able to do that at the start of the year. And again, it's not from the coaching, maybe that helps of course, but it's the experience that the longer the year went on, the better the players got.
Bobby O'Dwyer, the Cork minor manager, was telling us after, he's been involved, and you've been involved with this group from under 14 up. But even in terms of this year, James, how much development have you seen from that first game against Kerry to how they won the game against Galway last Sunday?
Oh, it's unreal. I suppose the personnel we played, Kerry, we played as individuals, and our tackle count and stats and everything was way down. I think we doubled that before the semi-final was our highest tackle count. Now that was the work rate of the forwards, which was unbelievable. Conor Corbett got 1-7 the last day, but his tackle count would be unreal. Now, we didn't do that in the first half the last day, but the second half and in the extra time, we were well on top on those factors.
What was it like when the final whistle went? It ends a 19-year waiting. 2000 was the last year Cork won the All Ireland minor title. What was that like when the final whistle went? I saw the pictures after the celebrations. You really enjoyed it out there?
Yeah, I suppose relief more than anything. And I suppose family and looking up to the crowd and your family and friends, I suppose they're special moments for the players especially. To be their parents came down to the sideline there. They'll have those pictures and dreams and memories especially for a lifetime.
You've achieved a lot in your football career. Where does that rank for you?
Someone asked me that Sunday night. I suppose, okay, to be easy to say it, that's top, but yeah. I can't say that. I would say when you county with your club is special because that's with your neighbours and friends, but this comes a very second close.
You mentioned Bobby Dwyer there and the kind of team he's put together. Can you talk to us a small bit about that? Because he's left no stone unturned to make sure preparations are as good as they can be. Yeah,
Bobby's been with this team 4 years now, at a development squad level first. I met him 4 years ago for a cup of tea over in Macroom.
Yeah.
As part of my job recruiting development squad mentors. And at the time, Cork football went in a great place and not many people wanted to get involved. But Bobby put his shoulder to the wheel, and Bobby's an excellent man management. What I mean, man management of the setup he has around him, delegation, every fella has a role, and then the players, working with the players and their parents, he's second to none. What I've learned off Bobby this year, can't wait to use it as the years go on. But again, through his job as as a bank manager, he brought those skills.
Yeah.
The day of just blowing a whistle, that day is gone. It's how to manage the whole setup and keep it a happy camp and bringing different parts to the setup, a little bit of everything. But we had 16 to 18 people involved in that setup. Incredible. And every one of them if I went through every one of them, they could nearly individually manage the team themselves or coach it because they have super experience at inter-county level and at club level. So
Bobby was at the top of the pyramid, kind of pulling everything together, kind of getting the best out of everyone.
Yes, our selectors, McCannon, played senior football for Cork, great experience there. Ollie Roux, you couldn't more passionate man, played for Cork, great man in all over the place at boys. Our goalkeeping coach is selector as well. Billy O'Connor played Cork minor. This year, then we went after James Masters, got him in.
Yeah,
he was helping me there with the forwards. Again, you can't buy that experience. Yeah. He went through all this, was the captain of the last minor team that won it. So he was able to offer great advice. All the way down to our doctor. If I went through every one of them, but our doc is Paul O'Keefe. He's manager of the Bars.
Yeah,
was manager of UCC when they beat Castlehaven in 2011. I got over that part of it. But just to have that experience all around you, you can hop things off people.
Looking at the bigger picture, so that's the All Ireland minor title and All Ireland under 20 title in the last couple of weeks have come back to Cork. But the footballers getting to the Super 8s too, and definite signs of improvement there throughout the championship. The outlook is a lot more positive than it was, let's say, this time 6 months ago.
Oh, big time. I think I was above when Parky Keeve sometime in January, Cork were after beating Clare were after beating Cork in football, and I think they were facing relegation, and we were looking at each other about where are we going.
Yeah.
But Cork seniors turned it around there, yeah. That gave momentum. The under-20s came behind that, had a Super Munster tournament, and what a great day out we had above in Portlaoise, like. And then Tullamore before that. The day out in Tullamore we had, when the under-20s were on before us.
Yeah.
We were inside in the dressing room. Cork were down before we went in. I stayed out to watch the last couple of minutes just to keep the time and everything. Came back in. Bobby was giving me a spiff inside. He stopped. He looked at me and I said, Cork are after winning. And you could see the chest going out in the boys.
Yeah.
And we went out that day on the back of the under-20s winning. Gave me a super performance.
How do Cork build in this momentum now? Like I said, fabulous last couple of weeks, good year for Cork football. But how do Cork build in this and kind of use momentum off this going into next year and the year after?
Yeah, I suppose I hope they give these boys space, a small bit, and patience.
Yeah.
We must remember that these minor boys especially are only, like Nash he'd be only 16 next December. Jesus. I think he's only 3 days away from being 2 more years as a minor.
Christ.
I think someone said he's the youngest player ever to win an All Ireland minor medal.
That's Owen Nash and Douglas.
Owen Nash and Douglas.
Yeah.
Douglas, yes. So the under-20s are young as well. Remember, this is not under-21.
Yeah.
And Cork are putting in structures now at the moment. New strength and conditioning coaching. So if they're looked after properly, given time and space, the amount of coaching that has gone on with the clubs and schools and everyone is involved in this, I think there's a bright future for Cork, but patience I would be saying there.
Bobby O'Dwyer mentioned after on Sunday, James, about Conor Coonahan. He said since he's came on as a project coordinator, maybe I've got his role wrong there, but he said he's pulling all the different strands together as well, and he was kind of lauding his input kind of and help so far this year. Like, it's great to have fellas like Conor involved, isn't it, kind of with his experience and know-how.
Yeah, I'd say Conor might be blushing a bit now if we were trying all the plaudits at him, but he's been at most of our training sessions since he got his job. And like, for that man to be walking around with All Ireland medals, playing and managing, that experience, you just can't buy it again.
Yeah.
And you'd see him there after every training session talking to Bobby, and he might come over to me or go over to Ollie or someone asking questions or whatever, can I help? That's brilliant, and that is tying the family. Keith Ricken was in with us nights, you know, with Jimmy Barry Murphy in night before we went to Dublin. And it's okay, so all this experience, this is, as you say, Cork football, the family is small, but it is tight. And with Cork senior selectors in with us, brilliant, you know, and the stronger that family can get mentors again down in below at under 14 level, coaching again, the future is bright.
Like so Jimmy Barry Murphy coming in, so is that kind of motivational for the lads, you know, kind of use his experience, kind of even just impart some of his knowledge on these young fellas? Yeah,
Jimmy spoke about his own experience. He used to be at most of our trainings, he used to be walking through CIT most nights, he'd stop for a chat. Superman. He talked about he playing in an All Ireland minor final, I think it was 71, and he passed him by.
Yeah.
So he was trying to explain to the boys, you won't be defined by this game, but don't let it pass you by. And I suppose maybe that thought came into Cian O'Leary's head at the last minute, and Corbett, and you know, those words rang out.
No, absolutely brilliant point to finish up on. James, again, congratulations on the success last Sunday, and thanks for joining us.
Thank you.
Thank you for listening to the Star Sports Podcast. Don't forget to pick up this week's Southern Star, featuring our award-winning sports section that has everything a sports fan in West Cork could want. Available every Thursday in shops across West Cork and online from anywhere in the world. The Southern Star, #1 for sport in West Cork.
Now, Kieran, before we wrap up today's show, we've obviously got through a lot of what we can expect between the rowers and the minor footballers. I'm sure there'll be plenty of coverage of both of those stories, but what else can we expect in this week's paper?
This time of the year, Jack, it's very busy GA-wise. Fantastic wins last weekend for Island Rovers and Newcestown in the Senior Football Championship, so we have full page reports on those. a lot more GAA going on besides that. Also, the Carbery Junior A hurling final between Kilbree and Ballinascarthy is on this Sunday, so we have a preview of that, as well as a preview of the Junior B hurling championship final between Bantry Blues and Kilbrittain. Kilbrittain got the better of O'Donovan Rasa on Monday night in a semi-final, and Jack's beside me here shaking his head. Along with that, what else have we? Éire Óg and Kinsale had different fortunes in the County Ladies Senior Football Championship. Éire Óg are through to the semi-final, where they will renew acquaintances with West Cork again in a couple of weeks. That will be a battle to watch. Kinsale lost to St. Val's, but they'll go into the B Championship now, and they'll be favourites for that. In the Southeast, the Southeast and Mid-Cork Junior Hurling Finals were on as well, so we have full-page coverage of those games. Lots and lots there, as well as, Jack, the first weekend of the West Cork League kicked off the weekend just gone. Some interesting results. Clonakilty Town got off to a good start, and looking down to the championship, Jack's Baltimore got off to a winning start, but the big worry for Jack is that they won without him. So if the Baltimore management are listening, my advice is do not change a winning team.
Oh, please God, no one's listening, and I will be starting this weekend, but who knows? I wouldn't begrudge them if I didn't, because I did ditch them for Electric Picnic this weekend, and they won. So. And
the picnic was good?
Picnic was excellent, yeah. I would recommend it. To at least go once, I'd say.
Brilliant. No, sounds good. Anyway, thanks for listening to this week's Star Sport podcast. We'll be back at the same time next week. So if you enjoy these shows, please make sure to rate, review and subscribe on iTunes, Spotify, YouTube, Acast, Stitcher or wherever else you listen to the show.
Thank you for listening to the Star Sports podcast. Don't forget to pick up this week's Southern Star, featuring our award-winning sports section that has everything a sports fan in West Cork could want. Available every Thursday in shops across West Cork and online from anywhere in the world. The Southern Star, #1 for sport in West Cork.